When it comes to the most exciting heavyweight in the world right now, you can forget your Sillet Bangs, you can forget your Rusty Bombers. There's a new sheriff in town. We're talking about Fabio Wardley. Though never sleep on Daniel Dubois or you'll end up like Anthony Joshua did. So the question is, who is Fabio Wardley? Fabio is a really unusual case. He's a guy without any amateur background. He was just an office boy, certainly wouldn't want to be working in his office, who played football on a night when he decided to take part in a few white collar fights. White collar, if you don't know, is when us 9 to 5 schmucks decide we want to beat somebody up. So we fight each other in a boxing ring and we say it's for charity. Fabio won 4 of them, thought, hey, I like this, and decided to turn professional. Managed by Dillian Whyte, because why not, and Dillian Whyte was a leading contender at the time. And trained by Robert Hodgins, Wardley was just 22 years of age. The heavy-handed brawler won his first 8 fights, 7 inside the distance, before squaring off against former amateur star Simon Valliere. Easy for me to say. Valliere wasn't an impressive pro, but he was still a decent fighter. But Wardley took him apart in 3 rounds, devastating performance. Richard Lartey was next, crushed in 2. Before Wardley traded bombs with former WBC title challenger Eric Molina. He looked to be on the cusp of a knockout defeat, but found the shots to put Molina away. Point proven, he had a warrior's heart. A further 3 knockouts followed before he squared off against Tyson Fury's cousin, or half-cousin, or in-law, or something like that, Nathan Gorman. Wardley crushed him in 3 rounds to win the vacant British Championship. After defeating Michael Polite Coffey in 4 rounds to win the WBA Continental title, he squared off in a grudge match against big punching David Adeleye. Teki Allison brought him out to Saudi for the fight. There was high expectations, but Wardley was taking no prisoners and he absolutely destroyed Adeleye in 7 rounds. And suddenly at this stage I'm thinking this kid could maybe go somewhere. Then came the litmus test. Frazer Clarke. British title was on the line, Commonwealth Championship was on the line. Clarke, far more seasoned, a former Olympic bronze medalist, unbeaten as a pro. The whole of British boxing couldn't wait for this one, and it lived up to the hype. It was a stunning war of attrition. Clarke started like a train and absolutely battered Fabio, busting up his nose, and he looked en route to a stoppage. But we've already mentioned Fabio is a complete utter warrior, and he dropped Clarke in the 5th round. It was nip and tuck from there. Clarke was deducted a point in the 7th. But Wardley continued to walk through fire to punish his man. At the end of 12 rounds it was scored a draw, but Clarke was absolutely exhausted. The rematch was signed for Saudi Arabia. Anyone could win, this mug thought, and this mug was completely wrong. Wardley had proven himself to be a student of the game. He'd watched the first fight, he'd figured out what mistakes he'd made, and he was ready to right the wrong. And the fight was over before it started. Wardley hit Clarke with a booming right hand, but Clarke fired back with his back on the ropes and landed a decent uppercut. But another barrage by Wardley forced Clarke back into that corner, and a final sweeping right hook landed. The effects were absolutely devastating, concussing Clarke and sending his jaw 5 miles down the road to shops. It was a tremendous performance. So now you know all about Fabio Wardley, the most exciting heavyweight in the world right now. If you doubt that statement, take a look at this photo. Poor old Frasia Clark. Question is, how far can Wardley go? He's 6'5". He's an enormous puncher. He's very explosive. He has a warrior's heart and he's got natural fighting instincts. However, he does look a little bit vulnerable. I would love this gunslinger to go up against Chisora or Joyce. I think there would be absolute war of attritions. Fight fans, who do you want to see him fight next? Let me know in the comments. And how far can this guy go? One thing's for sure, it's going to be exciting while it lasts. Thank you, fight fans. Please like and subscribe. And for exclusive content, head over to Patreon to support the channel.